Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail here with some scrolls. We're on the live server, and I do want to do just a quick look at a deck that I've been having a little bit of fun with before we go into a match reevaluation. This is going to be a Let's Play post-commentary, but I did want to give you a look at this deck that was called the Go Die, and I thought it was a pretty interesting budget deck that was posted on Reddit about a week or so ago. So I thought I'd take a look at it. It doesn't have the best Uberist cards in the world, no, but at least according to Scrolls prices, this deck only, I say only as a caveat here, only cost about 10,000 in-game gold. Now granted, you could beef it up with some other cards, such as things like Quake, things like Rat King, and there are certainly some cards that are susceptible to being replaced. But I've been having some pretty good fun with just this deck right here, so I do want to just talk about it briefly and show you an example game. I'll tell you, it does well in some matchups, it does poorly in other matchups, but it really is the kind of tempo deck that fits my playstyle pretty well, and I'm looking forward to building on this going forward. So I do appreciate the person who posted this deck. It's fun. You can see it has a lot of order in it. It has Pother, which is one of your standard cards, but it only has 2 Pothers, 2 Purifications because you see Decay all the time. Blessing of Haste is pretty nice, just at least to boost speed here. One of the more interesting things is just there's a lot of focuses in here, and there's transposition and new orders as well. So pretty much any of the cheap utility cards you can get from order, you get. And sometimes I'll run 5 growth, 1 order. Sometimes I'll throw 5 growth, 2 order. Now this is a tempo deck. What that means is that you try and get out as many creatures as you can. So that's why Eye of the Eagle is in here, and then you want to attack, 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 which is our Blessing of Haste is good, Rallying's good, Crimson Bull's good. I do use the hasted units, Ragged Wolf, and Kinfolk Veteran. I say I use it like I created this deck. I'm using someone else's deck. But you do want to get your summons, creatures as you can. Vetters are not super powerful in this deck. They can be good to get creatures out early if you can get them in your hand. Otherwise, by mid to late game, they're just another spawn on the board. They can get you a few more resources, but they're not the bread and butter. I do find Sister of the Bear pretty interesting in this deck because I don't tend to use her at all, but at least in this deck, this is one about getting creatures, and if there were a card that I may replace with Rat King if I were to try and move forward with this deck, this could possibly it because Rat King gives you 3 chump blockers. But Sister of the Bear is still a 4/4 creature for 4 growth, and that's not terrible at all. Mangy Wolf is your usual susceptible thing with Great Wolf, but otherwise this is a deck that is all about getting creatures out. And it has its usual struggles with growth in the current metagame right now, meaning that Decay can actually my Decay matchups with this deck I do pretty poorly, in part because I'm a terrible player, but also because you just have Decay is better at growth than spamming out creatures, in part because Decay benefits usually from having creatures die, whereas growth, when a growth creature dies, it's dead, it's outs, it's gone. So Decay tends to ramp up a little bit better there. Order, usual wing shield problems that can emerge do emerge. And against energy, well, I do have an example game here versus a friend of mine, Dryad. So we're just going to go ahead and pop open that game real quick, as you're going to see the old replay. Let's just go ahead and load this up. This is just from my perspective, so apologies, Dryad. I did want to use this game as just kind of an example. As we are playing against him, this is just a friendly match because we happen to be online at the same time. Okay, but we're just going to go ahead and get started here. As he says, good luck, and you can see my opening hand here. This is a decent opening hand. Vetter's good to possibly pop down earlier turn Sister of the Bear. Eye of the Eagle is going to net me another creature. Crimson Bull is going to be what I sacrifice first here, though, because you want to keep your creatures as much as you can and not worry about spells as much. But I have no idea what Dryad's playing at this point until I see him sacrifice for energy. So what that tells me is that Ragged Wolf isn't going to be as powerful here. And we do have a little bit of chatty here. I do have a lot that I actually do need to catch up on here as I get rid of my spells. I'm just trying to get my house in order with the Ragged Wolf, with the Brother of the Wolf and everything, but there is going to be a lot to look at in coming videos and episodes, including what's going on the test server with new cards, with Judgment and all that. But for now, we have a Vetter on the board, and that Vetter is kind of misplayed. I should have played him the turn before here. to get a Sister of the Bear or a Brother of the Wolf out. But right now, it gets Iron Whipped anyway, so its purpose is avoided. Kinfolk Bravish is out, and like I said before, this is a tempo deck. My goal is to get a creature out every turn. Brother of the Wolf is a higher priority than Sister of the Bear, because he can summon creatures to try and overwhelm eventually. But right now, this is the usual early game against Energy, where I do see a Hellspitter Mortar, but he does not put it in the center lane here for whatever reason. I guess he just wants to have it as kind of a protectorate instead of getting wailed on for 3 straight turns. But 2 Brothers of the Wolf, that's something you really don't want to see, just to let them spam wolves all the time. And you can see I have a Pother and a Kinfolk Brave. Once again, this is a tempo deck, so I'm going to be sacking that Pother just to try and get something better here. Now, I could hold on to the Pother. Actually, oh, that's right, that's what I do. Of course, this is a post-commentary. So I take that Pother, and the reason that I went for Pother instead of going for 5 growth is that I do have more resources that I can put creatures on, but right now, Brother of the Wolf's going to be able to attack, Kinfolk Brave's going to be able to attack, and I was originally thinking, let's move that Gravelock Elder with the Pother until I realized, hey, wait, there's an 80% chance of this Hellspitter Mortar moving out of the way. It would have been unlucky if he'd moved back to this one, but instead there's a Gravelock Elder that's up and dead. So with this kind of deck, tempo means that you want to have a board advantage as much as possible, and there are better card players with far more experience than me that can explain tempo a lot better. But pretty much any opportunity you have to put a creature on the board, do it. Any opportunity you have to keep the advantage by doing something like this to take off a creature, do it. And you're going to see that I still have 4 resources to play. Dryad giving me the unfriendly face, but I mean the unheart. I understand that. I'd be in the same boat, but there's a Sister of the Fox, mainly to see what other cards I get, and it's going to be the Kinfolk Brave. Ranger's Bane is likely going to be sacrificed next turn, depending on what he puts on the board, because 3 turns for poison is a very long time versus Energy, and we'll see if this Hellspitter Mortar does anything as he tucks a Gravelock Elder behind there. Right now, the Hellspitter's going to miss, and we have 2 Braves, 2 Brothers of the Wolf. I have a Focus I can drop as well, and this, and as I make a comment here, because I did have a few test games against Decay before, as I get a 3rd Brother of the Wolf out. And there's a Great Wolf that's itching to come out as plays, and well, I could use the Focus, or I could just hold on to my cards right now, and that's what I do. I want to save the Focus for a rainy day to try and take out a creature, or maybe to try and take out this Hellspitter Mortar, something. But right now, this is just the kind of opening hand that you love to get, if you can. And I do, and you'll be seeing some other examples of this deck where it does not go nearly as well as right now. He does a great play with the Destroyer there, Iron Whipping it to take out my 2 very poorly placed Kinfolk Braves. As I'm trying to split in case he's playing Thunder Surge, and well, the Destroyer destroyed me. But that's how it goes. So I have 2 focuses I can use, and one of the nice things is I get rid of one of them, partially because I want to play the Great Wolf, and partially because I can totally focus a Ragged Wolf here and take out this Destroyer, which would be ideal. Now, this is not a great split for Thunder Surge at all, but top deck, oh, there we go. And that's okay. Like I said, not the greatest play right here. This is a kind of asking if you're getting Speed Mangonelled, hey, just kill me now. But he does get a Scattergunner out. I have no cards in my deck. Does he hit something? No, that's unlucky for that Hellspitter Mortar. But pretty much Blessing Face isn't going to do any good. I get 2 cards here, and I can actually make some pretty good headway here. By summoning some Wolves and Crimson Bulling, I can actually manage to take out one of the Hellspitter Mortars. As Dryad says, he's scared. I'd be scared too in his position, to be perfectly honest, as I can just keep pumping out Wolves. That's going to keep strengthening my hand. I move that Brother of the Wolf up just to get everything together. I know I'm probably going to get Thunder Surge here because everything is connected, but I have so many beefy units that it's not too huge of a deal. And right now the Hellspitter Mortar is really just to help me try and avoid getting damaged, as this Great Wolf is going to be chomping at the bit next turn. Once again, the Sister of the Bear not really getting on the field at this point. There's just so many good 4-drops for growth. But here we go. Once again, this is a kind of play that I have to adjust my play for with this deck. I draw a Pothered, I have a Kinfolk Veteran, so I can make some noise here. The tempo play is to try and take out some of these creatures. I could possibly go for Idols. In fact, this Great Wolf is going to take down the bottom one here. But the question is, do I want to play the Great Wolf or do I want to play the Kinfolk Veteran? The Great Wolf is going to give me more control later, getting extra attacks on the board. The Kinfolk Veteran will let me haste and do something with it now. So I can pother this Elder and possibly pop another card. Question is, do I pother here or do I pother the Scattergunner and hope he goes down one? Just to take it? No, there we go. There's the pother on the Gravelock Elder, just hoping to get him somewhere in or out of the way. Because I want to take care of that Scattergunner. That would be lovely. Dryad saying he doesn't like pother. Many people do not like pother. But what is the play going to be at this point? Is I have a veteran, and there goes one Gravelock Elder. So that Scattergunner's not dead, but he is looking mighty effed at this point. As this is round 10, this is what you want to do. I have more creatures on the board. I'm not getting Thunder Surge because not every energy deck plays it. I'm a little surprised that I'm not seeing some other structures from him. There's a Cannon Automaton, so we do get some beefy units, but you got to remember it's turn 10 as well. And if he's playing a Solemn Giant, no idea where it is. As the Hell Spitter finally does its thing, taking out two of my brothers, saying, there we go. But right now, I just have so much shit on the board, and I drew a rally at the right time, a Blessing of Haste, Transposition. I can actually probably clear this guy's board if I play my cards right. Do I Transposition the Wolf to move him up? There we go. Looks like I'm just going for idle damage at this point as well, so not so worried at this point about the two creatures up above because there's not as many ways to haste it. I only have my Ragged Wolves exposed, do a little bit of damage to the Gravelock Elder, but right now one of his idols is nearly dead. I'm actually sitting on a Great Wolf and a Blessing of Haste, which is a nice thing to have in the pocket, but it's going to get, one of my wolves is going to get burned, and it looks like there goes the Kinfolk Veteran as well. So Dryad doing what he can, but this is the nerf growth cries that come from energy, and I know part of that comes from Quake. And I really like part of the concept of this deck. Because it is so focused on tempo, you don't want to sit there and maybe wait for the double Quake, which is what I've done in videos in the past, is just slide, 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 double Quake, and then push my card advantage to victory. Here, if you wait to Quake, you've waited too long. You just want to get as much on the board as you can. And you can see here, I can Sister of the Fox and Ragged Wolf. I could Great Wolf. I can actually Blessing of Haste this Great Wolf and do substantial damage. And that's just going to be a matter of how is this going to play out? I can possibly drop another Great Wolf down. Lots of different options here. But I do want to take out this Gravelock Elder. I know this Cannon Automaton's probably going to destroy me just a little bit. But good fortune right now with the Kinfolk Veteran. That was actually a lucky top deck right there. Because that will allow me to take out everything, and that idol is now super, super vulnerable. So I do acknowledge the top deck there. But yeah, this is kind of how it works. I know this is energy, kind of an ideal matchup, and we'll be doing some live commentary with this deck a little bit later on, as you'll see some of the struggles that can go into it. But I think tempo is going to be kind of the way growth is going, and it's kind of the way I envisioned it going even from the start. As I get a Mangy Wolf, that's pretty much going to be GG right here. But yeah, just gotta buff up my units and get them all together. So yeah, at this point, it's really just, this is the kind of decks that you're going to be seeing more from Growth in the future, more than likely, with some of the cards that are on tap in the future. It's not just get everything on the board and win with God Hand or something. There are other methods about it. And like I said, this is a deck that's fairly cheap to produce, but I am going to leave an example of it in the comments, or actually the deck list from the Reddit post before. But it's an enjoyable deck. Thank you. I apologize. I cannot remember offhand the Reddit user that posted it, or the Scrolls user, but at least want to highlight this and say, hey, look, I'm going to be trying some Quakeless play, some God Handless play, and just see where we can develop, because right now the metagame has shifted quite a bit, and Growth is at a bit of a disadvantage, maybe compared to some other resources, but I think that's because people have been clinging to the old conventions of Growth, and it's taken some people far smarter and more clever than me to come up with some other decks. But hey, that's Way to Fail. This is it for now with just a quick Scrolls post commentary. There is much more to come in the future, so stay tuned. Like I said, we're going to be taking a look at some Test Realm stuff. We're going to be looking at some Judgment, although if you've watched Blinky's channel, he's gotten some good coverage of that already. But hey, there is plenty of good Scrolls content out there from a lot of people, so glad you enjoy my stuff. At least I hope you do. But that's it for now. See you all next time.